My name is Gerhard Maschkowski. I am a survivor of the Holocaust. In fact, I lived 12 years in Hitler's 1,000-year Reich. I was in labor camps and I've survived Auschwitz. And proof of that is this. I never lost hope to stay alive.
You can spritz your hands. Bitte.
Bitte?
Clean your hands. Clean your hands. Uh-huh. It smells good. There you go. Perfect. Sanitizing.
Yeah.
Dr. Bronner's, what would I do without you? Great product.
All right.
Hi, I'm Sandra Scheller with the Chula Vista Heritage Museum, the South Bay Historical Society, and I am including the San Diego Jewish Federation and San Diego Jewish Family Service. I want to reach out to you. We have a show called Our Lives, Our Future.
Yeah.
I am with Gerhard Maschkowski. What a pleasure it is to be with you, to have had lunch with you, and I'm sorry we have to put the shield up. Gerhard, you are an amazing, amazing person. I would like to start with where were you born, when were you born, and bring me up a little bit, okay?
Okay, I was born in Germany near the Baltic Sea, Danzig.
Okay.
Near Danzig.
Okay.
And I was born in 1925. And, well, I had a very nice childhood, as you can maybe see on the picture.
Absolutely.
When Hitler came to power, all that ended. I was a dirty Jew. I was kicked out, kicked around with my classmates there were 3 other Jewish people in there.
When
Yeah.
did you realize it? When did all of a sudden somebody come to you and say, you're Jewish, you can't participate in anything?
1933.
In 33, were you actually,
I was 8 years old.
you were 8 years old. One day you're eating an ice cream, the next day you can't do that. You can't go to school. You can't go here.
No, to school I could go, but I had to sit in the last row, and the teacher came in brown shirts and, raved about the Jews, how bad they are. Mm-hmm. And the children I played with didn't play anymore with me.
Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, you're used to playing with children.
I'm the damn Jew. I was young. I was only 8 years old, so...
You're 8 years old. Children don't want to play with you. You're in the last row in the school. Did you really know what was going on, or only until afterwards were you able to put your timeline together?
Well, the details I didn't know. I knew... my parents told me also that the Reichstag was burning, which is, the Reichstag is the equivalent of the capital. 1938 was Kristallnacht.
How did you find out about Kristallnacht? That was in November.
Because they smashed my father's showcase. My father was well known in the neighborhood because he's a blind man, and they knew behind it.
How did your father become blind?
Christmas Eve, 1916. He was doing guard for his comrades who wanted to be under the Christmas tree. And he was Jewish, so he doesn't need a Christmas tree. So he went on guard, and that's when he got blinded by shrapnels. He lost both eyes. Both eyes were glass eyes.
He was doing a duty
for his comrades.
For his comrades.
For the goyim.
So you always knew your father being blind?
Yeah. My mother married him blind. He has never seen her or his children physically.
How did your father...
I've seen the synagogue burning, okay?
You did see the synagogue? Oh,
sure.
My gosh.
I went with my father. That they wouldn't dare attacking him because they knew he had the Iron Cross and all that garbage. We went to a friend of ours who had a leather goods store in downtown. He was arrested already. They took about, I think, 30,000 men over 18 were arrested all over Germany. and put into camps. 9,000 died. And they were told to leave Germany within 4 weeks. And this country was nice enough not to take them. They canceled visas, affidavits, 123 of them, 1,000, that were given already by the United States. And Breckinridge Long, who was the Secretary of State at that time, canceled all of them. And the Jews stood in front of the Berlin consulate, and the SS came and grabbed them all, thanks to this country. I love this country. It did very good for me, but that I'll never forgive him. That was not right.
Gerhard, in 1939, you are 13 years old. Your father is gone.
No. In 41, they took him.
In 41, they took him.
My father was better than a seeing man. He could do anything. You name it, he did it. I can show you letters typewritten that he wrote to us after the war. He was a typist. If you know anything about typing, 120 minutes, that is 2 lines in a minute, and no mistakes.
This was his life.
That was his life.
Being able to type. 1940, what do you remember?
1940, I was already in a camp.
Which camp?
Near Hanover. Well, in 1939 I went there, and I witnessed the first day of war.
First day?
Yeah, 1939, September.
Right, September 1st.
Right. There was an English airplane came over where Hanover, over the town, and dropped leaflets. And naturally the Gestapo was all over the place, and we couldn't pick it up.
You're in camps from September 1st until...
Oh, I was in camp before that.
You were in a camp before that?
Yeah, in April.
In April.
I wasn't 14 yet. That was labor camp, forced labor.
Tell me, what is it like September 1st to go into a camp? Where's your mother? Where's your father? Where's your family?
That was not a pleasant thing, because I left. I had to leave home in April. April 39, away from my parents.
What is it like to leave your parents?
Not very pleasant. I mean.
Did you cry? Did you have emotion?
I suppose I did. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the last thing?
I'm very emotional anyhow, so I guess.
How do you say, "I'll see you later"? What do you say? What do you do?
I had no choice. There was no big thinking. That's on the train.
On the train.
Yeah, I was at least 400 kilometers from home. Yeah, I was close to the Rhine River.
Did it hit you that all this was going on because you were Jewish?
Yeah, sure. I couldn't go to school after the 10th of November. 38.
In 38, yeah, of course.
10th of November, I was kicked physically out of school.
1941. What happens in
41?
41.
I was in a labor camp.
Still in labor camp, same camp.
In a different one.
Which one?
Jessen. That was 40 till half of 41 or so. That was a fairly nice camp.
I have a hard time when somebody says, "Oh, that was a nice camp." You know,
well,
you're away from your mother.
I'd like to explain to you.
Okay.
I was always lucky in all my life. I was at the right places at the right time. So, and that is one reason why I'm still here.
Dare I even say 1942?
42 was bad news. That was another camp, which was, we had to work for the city. Well, we had to do everything that the city needed. Streets, parks, woods, whatever.
What did you wear?
Cemeteries.
What did you wear? What clothes? Your own clothes?
My own clothes.
Or did somebody give you the clothes?
No, my own clothes.
Do you remember a suitcase? Do you have the same clothes every day?
I had a suitcase, but we didn't get any new clothing. So we had to take care of it well. And I had nice clothing. I had good shoes, 2 pairs of boots. I was well equipped. Lucky. And
bad news, but lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. For instance, we were working for the city, and they told, I was detailed to the cemetery. We had to dig graves, not for us, for them.
Thank God.
For you. People died.
All
We had to, and we were standing, after we dug the graves, people come and all that, and have a ceremony, and we had to stand behind the bushes to, if sand falls in, we have to take it out because...
The casket goes all the way down, right?
Casket, yeah. So 3 or 4 guys together, we always were friends. And then one day, in fact, one of the first graves we dug, the people came and they came to us and said, well, we had the Jewish star on it, but we forgot the flowers. Do you have any flowers? So we said, yeah, we'll just wait. We'll see what we can do. The cemetery is full of flowers, right?
So you took somebody else's flowers.
We made a business out of it.
Gerhard.
We knew if one comes, there are more people that forget.
One thing that people had during the Holocaust, the only thing, hope, but was there an opportunity?
Yeah, sure.
You found an opportunity.
Sure. Well, the food in the camp was terrible.
What was the food?
All kinds of soups, and it was just not good.
Soup.
In the labor camp.
Uh-huh.
But we collected money for the flowers. After all, you don't do anything for nothing.
And if you had this money, could you buy different food?
Yeah, we went to the butcher shop.
If you're in a camp, how do you go to a butcher shop?
That was outside. We were working outside in the city.
You were working outside in the city.
Without guards.
Got it.
This was the guard.
This was the
Jewish star.
The star was the guard.
And this I didn't even have yet.
But the star was the guard.
And we had a...
Gerhard.
Well, we were still civilians.
Where did you sleep?
In barracks, in the camp.
But when you worked, you were outside the barrack. And then this is when you were able to get what you needed.
And we had to come back.
Got it.
We had no way to... Well, I didn't know anybody in Berlin or anywhere else, so there was no way for me to leave from there because I had my ID, had a big J on it. Oh.
What color was your...
Gray, it's gray. I show you.
Yeah, but did it
I
have
my parents' copy.
Did it have the red stamp on it?
No.
No. You found an opportunity.
Yeah, sure. Well, look, if you need to be, you have to be.
Hey, if you need to be, you have to be. The things you learn sitting here are amazing. Are you ready for another year? 1943.
Yeah, that was bad news.
That was really bad news.
Yeah, we were picked up beginning of 43, I think. The Gestapo came to the camp. We didn't go to work. We knew somehow they said no work for anybody. So we didn't know. The Gestapo was surrounding the camp and they told us, pack your things. And we went to the train station, went to Berlin, In Berlin, we were there is a Jewish school that in each classroom were 50 people, and when they had 1,000 people together, we went into the cattle cars with a little bucket in the middle for hygiene. We were taken to Auschwitz.
In 1943.
We didn't know any of this until it happened. We were told we are going to the east to work. So, what's the difference where we work? We have to work.
Did you still feel every day, I want to be with my parents?
My parents were not in the picture.
None. You don't even think that. You just go from day to day?
You know, you think about it, but it wasn't very important. We were 200 in the camp.
Right.
We were transported to Berlin by train and walking.
Correct.
To this that used to be a Jewish school.
Right. You were in a Jewish school
in Berlin,
waiting for other people, but you didn't know you were waiting for them.
We were put into these rooms, men and women together. It was okay. I was with my girlfriend. Well, I was what? How old was I then? 16, 17.
Yeah.
So, well, we go to work to the east, so big deal. So we were sitting there, and then 100 in each cattle car.
100?
There were always 10 cars, 10 cattle cars with a steam engine pulling to Auschwitz. We were arrested on the 8th of April, 1943. And we got to Auschwitz on the 20th of April. That is Birkenau, you know. Birkenau, Auschwitz was a camp. Birkenau was the selection. My parents and my wife were in Dresden.
You have your girlfriend with you.
Yeah, sure.
But this is your wife? Was this Ursula? Okay.
No.
So you had your girlfriend. You get to Auschwitz. The cattle car stops. What happens?
Well, they opened the door and they yelled, "Raus!"
Raus!
Yes. So we had to jump out. And they had a little, like, chicken ladder, you know, for the older people to get down. And then we were separated. Selection.
What were the different selections?
We were a working camp. We were all workers. In other words, we were told also to dress like workers. So the selection for most of us, we had a few old people that didn't make it, but for most of us, we went to the right. Women, children, old people went to the left. The left means gas, the right means work, which we didn't know until we were told, you see the smokestacks? That's where you're going to go.
Did your girlfriend go to the right or the left?
Left.
But you didn't know.
But they only selected women that they needed. Most of the women and children and old people older than 35, okay, and younger than 14 went to the left. But they selected, sometimes if a guy looked like 20 and he was 40, he went through.
He went to the right.
To the right.
Yeah. Did you see Dr. Mengele?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Whoever it was. You think we would look at him and watch him and do what?
Oh, there's Doc. Yeah, right. You think you know it? Right, of course. Your first day in Auschwitz, what is it like? Cattle car opens. They've already selected you. What happens after that?
They took us to another camp, which was about 5 kilometers from Birkenau.
Okay.
Now, Auschwitz was a concentration camp. Birkenau, they did have barracks, I think, but only for the people that worked there. Birkenau had 4 and then 5 ovens, and I guess 4 or 5 gas chambers too. Only for the people that get there. Every 3 hours,
Every 3
a
hours.
train comes in with 1,000 people. That is how they can figure out that 1,100,000 or 250,000 people were gassed in Birkenau within a year, 2 years. They shut it down in October, November.
Every
44.
hour, 1,000.
Every 3 hours.
Every 3 hours, 1,000 people are coming there
Well, that's the only way you can do.
to figure things
You
out.
figure it out. Go on a computer. Go figure it out. It'll work out.
Did you have a suitcase? Did they take your suitcase? Did they give you clothes? What happened?
That all stayed in the cattle car.
It all stayed in the cattle car.
That was then cleaned out by other inmates.
Excuse me, how did you get your photos
From my brother.
from your brother?
Well, he went to Israel, to Palestine, in '39. That's the only way.
That's
I
the
got
only way.
maybe from my mother too, because they were in Theresienstadt. They could take a few things. Whether they took the pictures or not, I don't know.
Gerhard, here you are, 1943. You're in Auschwitz. You get selected. You're in your clothes that you had. What is the evening like? Your first night in this horrific place?
Well, it was not night. During the day, we were shipped to another camp. Bunamonovitz we were building a refinery from coal to gasoline and byproducts, which we didn't know what that was, but we found that out later. We got there and we were told to undress. And we had to even sort our pants here, shirts here, blah, blah. And my watch, there were sinks, with water faucets out of stone. And my watch wound at the stone, so
There went your watch.
smashed it. Why should they have it? Well, that was the only other thing I could do. We could keep our shoes, well, which was a good thing. Then we were shaven, hair off, everything.
Who did the shaving?
Inmates.
The inmates.
Yeah, and then
This is important for my students to watch, that it was the inmates, the Jewish people, who did the shaving.
well, they had to.
Right. Not the Nazis weren't going to do that.
No, they were not in camp anymore.
Right.
This was all camp, all people arrested, and they were working there. Okay.
Right.
So then, hair off, everything, naked, and we didn't recognize each other. You look different without hair.
Yeah.
And then we got the number.
What is your number?
Huh?
What is your number?
117028.
Does it have an A or a B, or just one?
No. A and B is 1944.
Okay.
I got there in 1943.
My grandfather's was B11559.
He came in 44.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Czechoslovakia.
Whatever, yeah.
Uh-huh.
That was A and B were in 44 because they ran out of numbers. So they started with A and B and low numbers.
What is it like when somebody grabs you and puts this on your body? What you don't think about it, do you?
we were in a daze.
Total daze.
Complete. I mean, here we were told you take a shower and everything comes off, and then they put a number on your arm. We didn't know what happened to us.
How long did it take to get the number, and who put the number on? Inmates?
Yeah, sure.
Inmates put them on.
Yeah. You see, this is not tattoo. This is punched in.
Yeah.
You can tell on that there are points.
Right, were there points?
There are points.
Gosh.
See? If you take it, see?
Right.
It's not continuous, it's points. And they punched it in. I remember that they punched it. And I
And you
remember
didn't even think.
each point had a drop of blood on it, because that was a sign that
It went through.
went through. You know, we were numb.
You're completely
We
numb.
were still human beings, you know.
Yes. But you couldn't think about that.
We were not thinking of anything. We just amazed. We were flabbergasted about what is happening here.
Did you think it was just a nightmare, or did you understand this was just...
Well, no, it wasn't a nightmare. The ride in the kettle car was already bad enough.
How long did the ride take?
No idea.
2 days, 3 days? You don't remember how many days and nights?
We don't know that.
No food in the cattle car.
No.
But if you had to use, you
We
would
had
eliminate.
food. We had our own. We took some food. We have gotten, when the camp was closed, they distributed all the food that they had to the inmates, to the people.
My God.
So we had a little bit something to eat. But we didn't dare to eat or drink. Would you like to go on a pot with everybody looking on?
Yeah, I know. Oh, I hear you. I hear you.
But this is young, old, middle. Everybody. Boys, girls, everything. That was a nightmare.
I'm not even going to use the word situated, but I don't know any other word to use. You've become acclimated to...
Well, the first thing they did is, after the number, after the shower, the shower was not really a shower, it was a disinfection. They had some stuff that really burned. The company that we eventually worked for was IG Farben, which was like Dow Chemical. Mm-hmm. They were building this factory, and they dictated to the SS how to treat us, because all they were interested in work. Now, if you don't treat people right, they don't work, right?
Correct.
And if you don't feed people, they don't work.
Right.
Okay. So they were seeing to it that we were fed a little better than other camps, but not enough to stay alive. And they didn't care, the IG Farben didn't care, as long as there's people working for them. The only people they cared for is specialists. In other words, people that they already trained to certain kind of work.
What was the work that you did?
Don't jump the gun.
Okay. I remember. Well, you were in a camp where you were working with something that changed the gasoline.
That's
Okay.
the factory. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we were designated to a barracks. Each barrack held 200 people.
Do you remember the name of the barrack?
The first one, I think, was number 5.
Okay.
And I know I was in 7. No, the first one was quarantine, number 23. I remember that. We had a week or 2 weeks, we were not doing anything, and we had only underwear.
Just your underwear.
Well, the underwear had more
Underclothes.
holes than
Yeah, underclothes.
We didn't get uniforms.
No uniforms.
No. Until...
What was the weather like? Were you cold all the time?
No,
was
that
it
was
warm?
in April.
It was in April.
It was in April. It was okay. The weather was...
When you went to bed at night, did you have a blanket?
yeah, for all of us.
For all of you. One big blanket.
Yeah, well...
Somebody said there's two. One for the bottom and then one for the top.
Are you kidding?
No?
One is enough.
One is enough. And how many people were in where you slept?
Sometimes 2, 3
Okay.
in the bunk. That was a week or two, and then we got assigned to different barracks. I think the next one was number 5, I'm not sure. The camp was still small. There were only 5,000 or 6,000 people in it. That's small.
What did they feed you? More soup?
Soup. Yeah. And, we had 3 meals a day.
Of soup?
No. We had breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
All in one. That was it, all in one. No.
We got breakfast.
Yes.
Separating into work details, and we counted again, and then we marched out to the workplace. Well, the first day was bad. I almost got killed there, but I became an electrician. First, I had to work in another detail that was digging trenches and put cable in it. You know, the cable that they have on these big rolls. Well, we had to, every 5 meters, one guy carried it. And I was very nasty. I was always looking for tall guys, and me in the middle, so I could carry this way. Yeah.
You're smart.
What? That was necessity.
Necessity.
Nothing smart.
Yeah. You found, okay.
Why would I carry so much?
Right, you've got these two tall guys on one side, and they're in the middle.
Yeah, I wasn't that tall. I was there 2 or 3 weeks. And then somebody hollered for electrician. Well, I was an electrician like other people are farmers. So I didn't know anything about it, but here I am. And I worked, it happened to be to work, this work detail worked for Siemens. You know, Siemens. The guys, all the electrical appliances, Siemens, right? Same company. And the capo, you know what a capo
Yeah,
is?
the person who's in charge, the supervisor.
Yeah, he was a doctor from Vienna. He was a nice guy, was okay. Commando 79. We marched out, and the first day I was there, we looked around, and the engineer was there and all, and most of the people didn't speak German. They were mostly Polish Jews, and the engineer was from Berlin. I speak German, you know, and he needed me to tell other people what to do. So I had a good job.
Wow.
I worked in the office.
Wow. That's 43.
Well, why do you think I'm alive?
You found an opportunity.
There you go.
You kept for the opportunity.
I was always lucky.
Yeah. Do I even say 44?
Oh yeah, 44 was same thing.
45?
No, 45. 17th of January 45. All hell broke loose.
Tell me about that.
Death March.
Death March.
And I mean Death March.
Tell me about it.
Well, we were 3 guys together, and we were all in pretty good shape. We all had good jobs. And we always shared all the food. At one time I had SS food. You know, that's very good.
Oh, of course, because you were in the office.
We shared that all. So we were pretty good shape. Really. We had a choice to make. Are we going to hide or are we going to march? We didn't know march, death march didn't show. Just walk out the camp. We didn't know what to do. Are we going to get shot or are we going to walk? Because we took a chance. You know, if you hide under the barracks or so, it's possible to get shot. We didn't realize that the SS was already marching. So we marched. It was a wrong decision.
How?
We were three. The first 2 days we went to Gleiwitz, which is a state.
That's where my grandfather was.
Okay, yeah, they all. That's where the coal cars were waiting for us. Mm-hmm. Not for me. I was in a bunch with about 3,000. I was told. I didn't count.
No.
and we start marching, and that was bad news. Remember, 17th, 18th, 19th of January we started to Gleiwitz. We marched 2 days, and then we went on in cold, snow, and cold. Poland was cold, and you know what schmattes are, right?
Yeah, schmattes, you bet.
Okay, that's
junk
all.
Things.
That's all we had.
Were the schmattes.
Schmattes.
My viewers are going to learn
clothing.
some words here.
Bad clothing. I mean,
bad clothing.
Really, clothing that not even the poorest people would wear. So, well, we marched. Altogether, I was told 500 miles or so. Well, 3.5 months. And whenever one went, walked out of line or fell, was shot. And we took their clothing. I had 4 or 5 layers of clothing at the end. I picked it.
You picked it. Somebody fell and...
Well, they don't know. It's not a pleasant thought.
No.
But we didn't think.
You just did.
We didn't think.
Right.
It was necessary, so that's it. We didn't think. All we were concerned with to stay in line and not fall.
Did you ever think, this is a story and it will be told one day? Or you just didn't even think that? No,
we said that, the 3 of us said, whoever is going to stay alive, they better tell them what's happening.
Did the other 2 survive?
Yeah.
Did you remain friends with them?
Well, by phone, yeah.
By phone?
Yeah.
Are they still alive today?
No, we met in 1983 in Washington, D.C.
So you're marching 500 miles. How does it come to a change?
Well, to begin with, I had boots, riding boots, when I got there. My parents, for some reason, had organized riding boots for me. I got them, when I left.
Because you did tell me that you had really good shoes.
Yeah, riding boots. Mm-hmm. I had them on when I went to Auschwitz, Pune. Uh-huh. And the capo came and he said, I want your riding boots. I want your boots. Deine Stiefel will ich haben.
And hast du das gegeben?
No.
Nein.
We told him, yeah, sure. I wanted to get rid of him because it takes 2. One to hold on and the other one to push him, to get him off. I was glad to get rid of him, but he came, he said, yeah, I want your boots. Yeah, sure, you can have them. We want bread for each one of us and a pair of good shoes for me. Okay. So he left and he came back with a little piece of bread and a pair of shoes that wouldn't last a day. We told him to get lost. We were 3, he was 1. So power didn't mean anything there.
No.
We would have, if he would have tried anything, we'd have taken care of him. We were still...
Nice and strong.
Oh, yeah.
Gerhard, you're still nice and strong, okay?
So after 2 or 3 times, he came back with a pair of shoes that lasted me to the last day.
To the last day.
I mean, leather shoes with leather strings, the sole that thick, all leather. I mean, and big enough to put, socks, how long did it last? We put in, I got a hold of cement sack paper. That's the best insulation.
Of course.
And it fits in the shoes.
Into the shoes.
I always had warm feet. So, look, I was lucky always. So, those shoes were my lifesavers. To walk in snow and ice, the snow buckles up on your shoes, not on leather.
You started the death march with how many? And how many do you
3,000.
think? And how many ended?
I think they told me there were 200 and 120 died because they started eating so much that they just...
Exploded.
Yeah. You can't do that.
No.
I was lucky. You see, I was always lucky. I wound up in a camp with only people that didn't speak German or Yiddish or anything, Hungarians. And I was German, so I was at fault. Germans at fault. There was another guy who was a German, but he didn't make it. He passed away the morning of the liberation.
He passed, say that again. He
passed away in the morning of liberation.
Of liberation.
Yeah, we were together in a bunk. Okay.
So you had a friend that on the last day, when liberation, he died.
He was not a friend. He was a German Jew. That I don't know where he came from. Whatever, he was there and he didn't make it. He was finished. I mean, we were undernourished. I weighed, from what the hospital told me, 35 kilograms. And I was almost 20 years old, 19.
That's like 70 pounds? 80 pounds?
Yeah, I was nothing.
No, of course.
No.
Now, let me ask you.
Okay.
Let me ask you. Liberation.
Yeah.
You're marching, you have your shoes, the shoes fall apart. How do you know it's liberation? Did somebody say you're free? Did the Russians come? What exactly happens?
Getting there.
Okay.
Number one, I had shoes that lasted to the last day.
Last day.
I had them for a long time, even afterwards. Oh, they were good.
Do you still have them?
You couldn't wear them? No.
Okay.
I wish I did. I wish I had my uniform.
Yeah.
Well, anyhow.
Did you wear the stripes?
Stripes?
Yeah.
No, naturally. So I witnessed, really, at night, the guards left. Because we heard the Russians rumbling, the tanks, they make a lot of noise and shooting. And they were very close, maybe 20 kilometers or more or less, the Russians.
Wow.
Naturally, the Nazis left. What, they want to get caught by the Russians?
You marched, and then how did you know that you were to go to a camp?
On the 23rd of April,
okay,
I gave up.
You gave up?
I gave up. I told my friends, this is it. They were carrying me, so I said, no more. Leave me. So they gathered all the guys together that couldn't make it anymore, put us in a cattle car and took us to another camp. That they didn't shoot us, I don't know why, but they didn't. Well, they didn't know what to do with. In my opinion, is they didn't know if they shoot us, what to do with our bodies. They weren't just about to dig graves for us, and we weren't able to dig graves for us. So they, I guess, that's my guess, to make 1 and 2, to make 3 is, well, we'll put them in another camp and let them starve to death. Which they did. They didn't feed us. And I was there, I think, 2 weeks.
No food, no water.
Water, yeah, I think we could organize. Organizing meaning stealing.
No toothbrush? What did you do? Use your finger? Use a piece of paper? How'd you clean?
What?
Your teeth. How would you clean your teeth? Did you wipe your teeth?
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
With what?
Yeah, with what?
Yeah, oh yeah, we had an electric toothbrush.
Students need to understand that you did not have anything. You were shaved. There was nothing.
Well, shaving I didn't need because nothing grew.
Right, nothing grew. You had no nutrients. There was nothing. So now you're in another camp. You're there for 2 weeks.
About
with
2
no
weeks.
food.
And hardly. Maybe we got something, but there was nothing really.
And who was running this camp?
Some SS, I suppose.
Okay.
We were upstairs.
Okay.
In bunks. And, well, liberation came. I knew not to stay in that camp that another 15 minutes because those Hungarians would have killed me because I was a German. No, it was dangerous.
No, of course.
So.
Of course.
Not that I was Jewish. That didn't mean anything.
That didn't mean anything.
They didn't know. They didn't understand Yiddish or German. They didn't speak it. They didn't know. I guess not. So Hungarian. I was, they brainwashed them. One of them maybe yelled, that's a German, so they all believed, the German, no good.
So
what
happened?
I got out of that camp as soon as it became morning because I seen the SS leaving. The guards
left.
They left. The Russians were minutes away. So I crawled out. That's all I remember. I crawled out of the camp. I couldn't walk. And I went next door. There was a German woman. And I told her, I think I remember that. I told her, give me something to eat and clean me up. And she knew what was going on. She knew who I was. Well, besides that, I had a striped uniform on it, can you imagine? I didn't see any water to clean or to do anything for 3.5 months? How we looked. She cleaned me.
But a real bath and a real water for years.
Yeah. And she did try to clean me, and I yelled, and that's when she stopped. I think everything hurt.
I was going to say, it must have just felt so painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all I remember. She gave me a boiled potato. It was delicious. It was the best thing there was for me. Because anything richer than that, I could have died from. And that's all I remember. I think the Russians or somebody took me to the hospital, to Breslau. That was about 40 kilometers away from the camp. It was not very far. So they took me there.
So your day of liberation was what day? When you think about
7th of May.
No more camps.
I didn't
free
think.
To go.
There was no thinking.
I
was gone.
And where do you go? 7th of May, no camps, you're skin and bones, you have this
To the next door neighbor.
To the next door neighbor, which you talked about, who gives you a boiled potato.
And that's it. I don't remember anything else. I remember, I don't know how many days later, I have no idea, that I woke up in the hospital and the doctor told me, "You're alive?"
You're alive.
So, and it was a Catholic hospital. The nuns were pretty good.
Tell me about the nuns.
Huh?
Tell me about the nuns.
They were nice to me. I mean, I was the only survivor that ever got there. You know, with striped uniform and all that stuff.
Right.
They gave me something to eat, just a little bit. And I was, I was awake already and I hungry. I mean, really hungry. And here they give me just a little bitty piece. And I used choice German words.
I'm sure you did.
Do you want me to die again?
Yeah.
They didn't say anything.
Aber du hast das gedenkt.
They fed me maybe every time a little bit. But that was not enough. I was really upset. I remember that. I was hungry and they didn't give me anything to eat.
Here you go. Ein bisschen.
Oh, I
Du kannst
ate
nur ein
everything
bisschen haben.
that came around. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything. Otherwise I would have gone to the kitchen. But I couldn't do anything. It took them 4 weeks at least before I could just get on my feet. I kind of understood why they gave me a little bit to eat, because
you would have exploded.
Diarrhea, and that was it.
That's it, yeah.
They kind of knew about that.
Yeah.
Because from the other soldiers.
Sure.
So I think after about 4 or 6 weeks.
I have interviews from obviously other people, and they told me that when somebody made them their first meal, they left the kitchen, and when nobody was looking, they took the whole thing and ate it, and the next day they were so sick. So they had to introduce the food to you very slowly, Gerhard.
Oh, yes. Well, that's why they knew about that from the soldiers that came back from Russia, because they didn't feed them either.
Sure.
So they knew. That's my opinion. I mean, nobody told me about that.
How did you get from the hospital back home? Is that what you did?
That's coming up.
Okay.
After about 4 or 6 weeks, I could walk. I figured, well,
Your muscles must have been so sore. Okay. So you wanted to inspect the town.
Inspect the town. There was it was the hospital kind of was close to a marketplace. A big place.
Right.
And well, I walk. I figured somewhere I must have found a Jew somewhere.
Did it hurt?
Huh?
Did it hurt? Or was it okay?
I was already in pretty good shape. I mean, I probably weighed 100 pounds or
and you
more.
must have had strong muscles after...
Well, I was worried. I mean...
Right.
The muscles, well, they were not there anymore, I don't think. I don't know.
Okay.
But anyhow, so I walked, and I was on the marketplace, and all of a sudden, there was a Russian officer. He said, "This." I didn't understand.
Yeah, come here.
He said, "Come here. You better go. If he calls you, they have guns."
Right.
So I go there, and he said, "Bist du Yid?" You understand?
Are you Jewish? Okay, I do. He says, "Are you Jewish?"
Bist du Yid? I said, "Yeah." He was a Jewish Russian officer. He said, "Come rein." He said, "Come in." He was front of there was an entrance there.
Right.
And he took me downstairs. Underground, there was food to no end. He said, "Nimm sie."
Take whatever you want. Nimsi, whatever you want.
Yeah. I said, I can't carry anything. I'm too weak for that. But can I get the nuns? I'm in the hospital. And we get something to eat? Sure. Come on. So I went to the hospital again. And I got the nuns. They had a little wagon, you know, the kids have those. Take it and we'll get some food. And they said, are you crazy? In German.
Bist du verrückt?
It's like, no, da ist viel zu essen.
We can eat a lot.
A lot to eat. Mm-hmm. They said, okay. They didn't believe me. They thought I was... Mm-hmm. So we went there, and boy, their eyes popped out when they seen all that.
Of course.
And I told them, I said, you can take anything you want. So they took. We went there every day. Well, the hospital had a lot of people in it.
Yes.
And then I went to Mother Superior, and I asked her, I said, I know you have been very good to me, but I'm very good to you also. I'm feeding you. Because of me, you wouldn't, otherwise you wouldn't have gotten it. But there's one thing you got to do. If there's SS in here, they gotta go. I'm not sleeping with them under one roof, and I'm not feeding them with my food. Oh boy.
Was hat sie gesagt?
Did she yell at me? I said, well, whichever, it's up to you. If that's the last time you go there, fine with me.
But I will not be under the same roof with an SS.
That's right. And I went through the rooms.
Did you find any?
Yeah.
Did you throw them out?
Mm-hmm. Yes, the Russians took care of it. Yeah, I had to get them out. Some of them couldn't walk. They carried them out. They just, at that time, I told them, the Catholic nuns, what happened to me. And I showed them the number. They didn't know they'd never seen a survivor. Because I was one of the first, I was the first one in town. They had no idea what was going on. Really not. They didn't know what Auschwitz was. A lot of them didn't. A lot of Germans.
Did your number fade?
Oh, yeah.
But the memory didn't.
No. I mean, it's still readable.
I know.
But it was very strong. You know, they used blue ink, and it was...
But now the memory is stronger.
You'll never forget that. I mean, it's there, you know.
Of course.
It reminds you of the little few things.
So now the German soldiers... they are raus. They are raus.
That's right.
They're out.
The ones...
How did that feel for you?
Good. The Germans, well, look, I'm liberated. I'm now king. The German never looked at me crosswise because I get mad. I was 3 months in the hospital, but I was in good shape. I was guest in the hospital.
Of course.
And I walked around.
Never bite the hand that feeds you.
And then I was looking for Jewish people. And there was a federation. I guess I name it Jewish Federation. There were Jews getting together from all over. Uh-huh. There were a few German Jews, very few. Mostly Polish Jews and all. But at that time, I spoke Yiddish, so no problem. And while I was, I was still guest at the hospital. I had my room, and
no, you had your king's castle.
one day I was walking around, and I've seen a survivor, supposedly. A nice uniform, striped uniform and all. So I greeted him, and he did speak German. I think he spoke German. For some reason, I don't know what, it dawned on me. He looked better than I was, and clean, and a nice uniform, and he had a bicycle, a nice bicycle. And all of a sudden, you know, like a lightning going through your head, it's a guard.
It sure is.
And he put himself into a uniform.
He sure did. I knew this was coming. Doggone it.
And well, all I do is call a Russian soldier and says,
I like that bike.
SS.
SS.
You know what he does.
Raus.
And he took the bicycle instead of me, the Russian.
The Russian took the bicycle. You didn't get the bike. He
No.
got the bike.
A nice bicycle.
Really? Yeah. Oh, my
A bicycle would have helped me.
God. Oh, for sure.
After the hospital, I told you the Federation, there were a
Yes,
lot of Jews there, coming from camps, from all over. And we got together and we said, we got to get out of here. This is the Russians, you know, we don't know what to do here. Who knows what's going to be?
Wir haben genug gehabt.
Yeah. So,
We've had enough.
So we found a guy with a bus, and we told him, a lot of the Polish Jews had diamonds and all that stuff. They got it from they were in better shape than I was. So anyhow, they paid him to take us to East Germany. It wasn't that far, but we had to go through from the Russian zone to the Polish zone to East Germany. Well, we got to the Polish border, and he said, I'm not going.
Oh.
We got to the Polish border.
To the Polish border.
And the Russians said, you stay, the Poles, you come. So the bus driver said, ich habe Angst um meine Reifen, my tires. Concerned with the tires and us. So we said, go. No. So we took him off his seat, and we had a guy that knew how to drive. So we went. And the Russians and the Poles were standing there with their guns drawn. So our driver said, I'm going, let them shoot us. So nothing happened. We went to the Polish border, and then we went to East Germany, and we told the driver, adios.
Adios. Hasta la vista, baby.
That's it. Well, the driver was with us, you know, but he wasn't driving. So, well, at least we were in the East Zone.
You got it in the East Zone.
Zone.
Sure, you're back. Yeah.
And in the meantime, I had a girlfriend, not the one that, I mean, in fact, I tried to find her, but in Berlin. She was a Berliner. But her mother was kind of sick, so I guess she went to Auschwitz. And that's it. So, but anyhow, that girlfriend was very nice, but the mother was a pill. Terrible. So one of those days, I said, I'm going to have to look for my family. Maybe I can find somebody.
Unbelievable. Your father?
My
your mother? Your brother was in Israel?
And yeah. My immediate family survived.
What did it feel like, if you can remember, to get that hug from your father and your mother? Because your father couldn't...
My mother didn't recognize me, but I was really their son. And my father couldn't see me anyhow, and my voice was completely different. You know, from 13 to 20, that's a long time.
Were they shocked?
Yeah. They didn't think I was alive, because a guy I was in camp with before Auschwitz, in labor camp.
Yeah.
He had found his mother there in Deggendorf. That's a displaced person camp.
Where did your mother and father end up going? Where were they? Did they escape?
Theresienstadt. No.
They were in Theresienstadt.
They came from there to Deggendorf, to the displaced person camp.
How does one go into... Talk about a miracle. Your father's blind. He's in Theresienstadt.
Yeah.
And I've never heard of anybody who could live having a disability of being blind.
My mother was strong. My mother was the head in the room. There were many people in the room in Theresienstadt. She was the head of it. She took care of it. She took care of my father. And my father he was self-sufficient.
But
he could dress himself, he could do anything.
His vision and understanding was that he was able to use a typewriter. Did he have a typewriter No. So
he had nothing.
What did he do when he was in Theresienstadt?
I guess nothing.
Because, like, my mother worked in a children's garden. My grandmother worked in the... It would be... You don't know what he did.
My father didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything.
My mother did. My mother was in charge of that room.
Gerhard, do me a favor. Close your eyes and tell me what it felt like to hug your father and mother. Do you still think of that today?
Sure. It was
unbelievable.
I knew my father was there and my mother because I read a letter from them in Berlin at an uncle that was with them in Theresienstadt, and they went to Berlin.
And their little boy came home. Their little boy came home.
In Berlin, they had a federation with all lists, all kinds of lists, all kinds of names. And I didn't find my name or my parents' name. So I figured that's it. But then somehow I figured, let's see my mother's maiden name. Let's see whether there's anybody left. And that's why I found them. I had aunts and uncles. We lost, I think, we figured out one time we lost about 58 people from my family. There was an address for them. They lived right across from the Federation and on Fasanenstraße in Berlin.
Have you been back to Berlin?
Oh, sure, many times. I want to tell you what happened in Miami to us. We went from New York. A good friend of ours, he worked in the Catskill Mountains over the summer and made some money. And he came back. He said, I bought a car and I'm going to Miami. And if you want to come, you don't have to buy a winter coat. We were just married, not long.
Right.
And we had no children. We had nobody.
How did you meet Ursula, your wife?
In Deggendorf.
In Deggendorf?
Yeah.
Because of your parents?
Yeah.
And they were in a displaced camp?
Yeah.
And your wife came from Theresienstadt?
They were the first ones there. I came in October, I think it was October. They were there in June already.
Right. And your wife's father was Jewish? And her mother was not Jewish. She was Catholic.
Mom's grandfather was Catholic.
Okay.
And the grandmother was Jewish.
Was Jewish, okay.
And her mother was then half Jewish.
Half Jewish. So your wife's mother was half Jewish?
Yeah.
Okay. And on the other side?
There were two sisters. Mm-hmm. They were also half Jewish, but they married Christians.
Okay.
So they were not touched. Only their children could not join the Hitler Youth.
But and they couldn't join the Hitler Youth because they were not pure Aryan. Got it.
There you go.
Now there I go. So what happened is your wife's father was pure Jewish.
Pure Jewish.
But the mother's mother was Catholic.
Yeah.
Well, I still think that.
Whatever. But anyhow, so this is how these things.
How old are you when you meet her?
20.
20. And then how did you end up coming to New York?
Well, I did not want to stay in Germany, even though my parents, I should have thought about it, but I did think about it. I said, I can't live here. The Germans just, they go against my grain. I mean,
sure.
I don't know whether you can understand that.
No, I can.
Whenever I see a German, I get, at that time.
Yeah.
Today it's altogether different.
Can I ask you a stupid question?
No question.
Would you sit at a table with somebody who was German, or would you get up and walk away?
No, I would. Depending on what the age are. With my age, no, I wouldn't sit with them.
If somebody young came to you and
friends.
said...
I have good friends in Germany.
Okay.
Very good friends.
No, but that are not Jewish.
No.
And if somebody came to you and said, Gerhard, could I please apologize for my family? What would you say?
Accepted.
Accepted.
Yeah, well, look, what's the difference? They're gone.
Can I tell you a quick story?
Go ahead.
Ready? My mother was in Auschwitz, and the woman guard, her name was Gertrude Heise. Gertrude Heise. Okay? She pointed a gun at my grandmother. Okay?
Yeah.
But she never fired it. She thought that my grandmother, who was a capo, was talking out of turn. Now, normally, I don't tell survivors about myself because I'm just a second generation. And the stories are so important. Are you ready for this? Are you holding on?
No.
The woman, the German Nazi woman guard, is still alive. She's 100 years old.
She must be young.
She was born in 1921. Her birthday will be in June. And we still watch to see. She did 10 years. She was supposed to do 15 years. And she only did 10. And we're trying to figure out, was ist genug? What is enough? She has Alzheimer's. Enough. Does she go back? What happens to somebody who has Alzheimer's? 2 children.
She got Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Payback.
Meine Mutter hat dasselbe gesagt. My mother said the same thing. She can't remember it. Let her live to be 200 years old.
Yeah,
let the Germans pay for it. It's fine.
Well, the friends that I have in Germany.
You're still recording, right, Max? Okay. The friends you have in
Germany are younger people. The best one is a couple. She is a television reporter and he is a doctor.
Wow.
And they are just. Ich bin der alte Knabe.
So what I was going to say.
They are. I was in Germany. We went to Germany since 1979 every year, or sometimes twice. I was in Germany in 19, right, Frank? 2 years ago.
2019? Frank?
Yeah, but I can't even remember her name now. What's her name? Who?
Antje.
Anja. Anja contacted you while you were in Los Angeles and came to Los Angeles to interview you. And
Yeah, that's right. Her. Yeah, well, we met.
You didn't Anja over in Germany, did you?
Wait, we met Antje in Switzerland.
Oh, you did meet her there.
She was I don't know, in her 20s.
Wow.
And she was a reporter, and she came to Switzerland to, in fact, Pontresina is a little town. And
You were such an amazing mechanic that you filled out an application for Eastern Airline.
I wanted to become a flight engineer.
A flight engineer.
But I had to become a mechanic first.
Wait,
A airplane mechanic.
So you passed all the tests
In Miami.
in Miami. Then when it came to the last question
Atlanta.
in Atlanta,
They flew
what
me
was
there.
the last thing they asked you?
I told you.
One more time.
What church you belong to?
They wanted to know
But it was in 1953.
in 1953, the last question for employment was, what church do you belong to?
Yeah, we let you know.
What did you
They still
do?
let me know.
Did you say, what?
They still let me know.
They still let you know. Did you get the job or no?
No.
You didn't. What did you put on there? What was your answer?
Jewish.
You put down Jewish.
Look, I got it here. How can I? In Miami, they all knew I'm Jewish.
My gosh.
But in Atlanta, they
In Miami, he was hired, and then what happened is they flew him to Atlanta.
Yeah.
He filled out that last part of the application,
it was a questionnaire.
a questionnaire.
And I've passed 95.
Then they asked him the last question
No, in the interview.
in the interview. Oh, this is Delta.
Delta Airlines.
This is,
You kidding?
I thought it was Eastern Airline.
No.
This was Delta Airline in 1953. Asked, after you passed 95% of your
I
application.
was hired.
You were
in Miami.
hired? You were hired in Miami. In Miami.
Not to get technical here again, but that Delta wasn't based in Miami, only Eastern at that time.
No, Delta was based in Atlanta.
Yeah. So are you sure it wasn't Eastern?
No, it was Delta Airlines.
Okay.
They flew me from
They flew him.
from Miami to Atlanta
I got that.
for an interview.
Oh my gosh.
And at about 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they asked me that question. I passed all the. That was the only question about religion. Everything I passed mechanically and all that.
Now, Frank, aren't you glad we do?
Before I forget, another quick point is, my mother was the apartment hunter, and pretty much my father never knew where his home was. But several apartments were denied because
They were Jewish.
Well, we had some friends. They both came from. They were German Jews, but they were in South America during the war, and they came to Miami and they looked for apartments. She was a tall blonde, Jewish, and the other one was a little shorter, dark-haired. And they hunted for an apartment, and the manager or owner said, "You I take, you
I don't.
You not."
So what happened is, you went with your wife from New York,
To
Catskills to Miami.
Yeah.
Okay, and what happened there?
We went broke.
You went broke in Miami.
Well, we went there with $70 in 1947.
Oh my gosh.
And we didn't know what Miami was. Hot, humid, and bugs. Boy, oh boy, that was some letdown.
That was-
But we were there. We couldn't go back. We had no money for it. So I finally got a job in a gas station.
Uh-huh.
And from there on, I became a mechanic. And I bought the car. You've seen that. That was when my daughter was born after that. And then I worked for Chevrolet. for 10 years, and my boss was an angel. I mean, really an angel. He put me into business.
Wow.
I worked for him. I was the only one that could work on his car.
Wow.
In his shop, you know.
In Miami.
In Miami. And in '59, I told him, I said, his name was Anthony Abraham. I said, Tony, I'm going to quit. He said, why? I'm going into business. Oh, good. I figured he's going to fire me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? I told him where it is. He said, well, anything you want, just call the parts department and pay me when you can.
What an angel. But then you went from Miami to Los Angeles.
Yeah, well, I was in Miami. We were 32 years altogether.
Oh, so you did very well in Miami.
Well, then after I was in business for almost 2 years, and I had a customer that was a real estate man, and I always wanted to have something of my own, because I had to pay rent for that place.
Yeah.
And it wasn't such a nice place. I made it nicer than it was, but then he came to me, he said, I was Jerry then, not Gerhard. That's also why, you know, the Jerrys were German soldiers. Yeah. So they call him Jerry, so Jerry. So anyhow, Jerry, you got to buy this land. I said, with what? I had no money. I mean, we had little, but you got to have it, because that's going to be the street. There are going to be a lot of homes. Everybody has a car. You got to have it. So I went all over the place. I got the money together for it. 2 lots. And I built my own shop. In 1961 and 62, yeah. 10,000 square feet, big shop.
And
I leased it to my foreman because he wanted it so bad. Lease it, have an income. In 69, and in 79 I had sold him the building. That's when I came here to Los Angeles.
Wow. And then from LA, you came to San Diego.
After my wife passed, yeah.
Your wife passed, and then you came to San Diego.
Yeah.
Gerhard, I have really enjoyed talking to you. I hope that I can come back. You had bad days, but you were lucky. That's your new name. I'm not even going to... Every time I call you up, instead of saying, hi, Gerhard, I'm going to go, hey, Lucky.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
And in this country, too.
I say this to everybody who I interview, but you know, when you're a survivor and you tell a story, you become a hero. Number one. Number two, if you need anything at all, there are no miles between us. Okay?
Okay.
You know the Beatles song, don't you?
No.
All you need is love.
There you go.
Bum-ba-da-da-dum, right?
And I have good friends here. We play cards.
Yeah.
All kinds of cards.
I love it.
You play cards?
I do.
What?
Canasta?
Oh,
Gin?
You better come here.
I'll come here. The only thing I don't play is Mahjong.
No, we don't play Mahjong.
Oh, thank God.
we play gin and canasta.
Okay, we're on. Gerhard, it has been absolutely wonderful being with you. I'm sorry for the shield, but it's better than having a mask. I think you're amazing. I say this to my survivors, just so you know. When a survivor tells a story, they become my hero, and you're my hero. Thank you so much for watching. This is Our Lives, Our Future. And with that, let's go ahead and wave goodbye. Thank you.
Sterker, vredig, ik de malkje door de middag.